For millennia, indigenous peoples across the Americas demonstrated an exceptional ability to adapt to and master their environments. Their lands encompassed vast terrains, including dense forests, arid deserts, high mountain ranges, and expansive grasslands. These diverse landscapes required innovative solutions that intertwined environmental mastery, cultural wisdom, and technological ingenuity. Contrary to the misconception that pre-Columbian America was a sparsely populated wilderness, it was home to sophisticated societies that utilized intricate methods to sustain large urban centers. This video explores how the indigenous peoples of the Americas harnessed and transformed their environment with remarkable knowledge and sustainable practices, ensuring their survival and prosperity for generations. The success of indigenous societies in the Americas was rooted in their profound observation of the natural world. Tribes across the continents meticulously studied the patterns of animal behavior, plant life, and weather. These observations informed everything from agricultural calendars to hunting strategies. Indigenous communities, such as the Iroquois in the Northeast, noted the timing of animal migrations and the life cycles of native plants. They integrated this knowledge into their daily activities, ensuring they could hunt, fish, and gather with minimal ecological disruption. The people of Amazonia, for instance, understood the seasonal floods and nutrient cycles brought by the Amazon River, allowing them to make strategic decisions about planting and harvesting. The Plains tribes, including the Sioux, relied on the migratory patterns of buffalo herds. This understanding enabled efficient hunting strategies that ensured sustainability and minimized overhunting. Coastal tribes like the Tlingit of the Pacific Northwest perfected fishing techniques to align with the salmon's seasonal runs, which were central to their diet and culture. Indigenous societies were not just passive participants in their ecosystems, but active modifiers of the land. Their ingenuity is exemplified in advanced agricultural practices that supported thriving communities. In North America, the Iroquois employed the Three Sisters method, planting corn, beans, and squash together in a complementary system. Corn provided a natural trellis for beans, beans enriched the soil with nitrogen, and squash acted as a living mulch to retain soil moisture and suppress weeds. This method not only supported food security, but also exemplified early knowledge of polyculture that promoted biodiversity. In the Amazon rainforest, where naturally occurring soils were often too acidic for sustained farming, indigenous people developed terra preta, dark earth. This soil was created using a slash and char method, which incorporated charcoal, broken pottery, and organic waste. Terra preta retained its fertility over centuries and allowed continuous cultivation. The soil's properties suggest an intricate understanding of long-term carbon storage and nutrient cycling, making it one of the most remarkable examples of sustainable environmental engineering. The Inca and earlier Andean societies overcame the challenges of steep mountain slopes by constructing terraces. These terraces transformed rugged highlands into arable land, preventing soil erosion and creating microclimates that retained heat and moisture. The stone walls of these terraces acted as natural temperature regulators, which allowed crops like potatoes, maize, and quinoa to flourish at high altitudes. The terraces also integrated irrigation systems that used gravity to distribute water efficiently. Beyond agriculture, indigenous peoples perfected sustainable hunting and gathering practices, which included innovative tools and coordinated community strategies. The Plains tribes developed communal hunting techniques, such as the buffalo jump, where entire herds were driven over cliffs. While this method may appear drastic, every part of the buffalo was used, from meat for sustenance to hides for clothing and bones for tools. This approach demonstrated respect for the animal and a communal ethos that ensured no part went to waste. The Pacific Northwest tribes crafted canoes tailored to their coastal environment, using cedar trees to build sturdy, seaworthy vessels capable of withstanding rough waters. Inland, birch bark canoes were lightweight and easy to portage, enabling travel across vast river systems. Fishing techniques included weirs and nets, which were strategically placed to maximize seasonal fish harvests. In the northern reaches of North America, the Dene and other Arctic tribes developed sophisticated snowshoes. These were made using specific types of wood and sinew to create different designs suited for various snow conditions, allowing them to traverse frozen landscapes efficiently. This adaptation was not just for travel, but also for long hunting expeditions and trade routes that spanned hundreds of kilometers. The use of natural resources extended to the construction of dwellings and monumental structures that not only provided shelter, but also had cultural and religious significance. The Iroquois constructed communal longhouses that were made from wood and bark, accommodating multiple families and strengthening social ties. The Sioux, on the other hand, built teepees that could be quickly assembled or dismantled, facilitating their nomadic lifestyle. In the Southwest, the Puebloans constructed adobe homes that utilized clay and sand to create multi-story structures, ideal for insulating against temperature extremes. The Mississippian culture, especially in Cahokia, left behind a legacy of massive earthen mounds. Monk's Mound, the largest, was 30 meters high and covered an area of 5 hectares, built using over 1,000,000 cubic meters of earth. These mounds served as platforms for temples, residences of leaders, and burial sites, reflecting sophisticated engineering and social organization. Mounds were not just practical. They were imbued with spiritual importance, often playing a role in creation stories and community gatherings. In the Arctic and subarctic, the Inuit built inukshuks, stone structures that served as navigational aids, markers for hunting locations, and symbols of community. These anthropomorphic markers were essential in the harsh, often featureless landscape of the tundra. Meanwhile, the Central Plains featured medicine wheels, stone circles that held ceremonial and navigational significance. Trade was crucial for the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies among indigenous groups across the Americas. Rivers such as the Mississippi, Yukon, and Amazon were natural highways that enabled trade and cultural interaction. Indigenous trade networks spanned thousands of kilometers, allowing items like obsidian, seashells, and food staples to travel vast distances. Canoe technology was central to these networks. On the Pacific coast, heavier cedar canoes could navigate open ocean waters, while lighter birch bark canoes facilitated inland travel through rivers and lakes. The spread of pottery techniques, which originated in Florida and spread to the Southwest, exemplifies how knowledge was shared along these routes. This exchange enriched cultural practices and technological advancements across tribes, fostering resilience and adaptability. Underlying every technological and practical innovation was a deep spiritual connection to the environment. Indigenous peoples viewed themselves as part of a larger ecological web, fostering a philosophy that stressed balance and respect for nature. Water held profound spiritual significance across many indigenous cultures. Whether as the rivers that nourished their crops or the rain that sustained their forests, water was often revered as life itself. Ceremonies and oral traditions reflected this respect, symbolizing water in its many forms, from the peaceful lakes and rivers to the life-bringing rain and snow. Hunting and gathering practices were accompanied by rituals that honored the spirits of the animals and plants. The sun dance of the Plains tribes, for example, was a spiritual ceremony that celebrated the connection between the people and the land. These rituals reinforced community bonds and instilled a deep sense of responsibility toward the environment. Indigenous creation stories often depicted a world where humans, animals, and natural elements coexisted in harmony. These stories were not mere folklore, but conveyed essential philosophical principles about balance, interdependence, and respect for all life forms. They served as moral compasses that guided daily practices and ensured that resources were used sustainably. The environmental accomplishments of indigenous peoples often involved not just survival, but significant innovations that transformed the landscape. In Amazonia, terra preta allowed for continuous farming in otherwise nutrient-poor soil. This achievement was complemented by the cultivation of managed forest areas that produced fruit, nuts, and other resources, creating highly productive landscapes without the need for intensive farming. The stone terraces of the Andes were masterpieces of engineering, preventing erosion, conserving water, and supporting large-scale agriculture. Their irrigation systems channeled meltwater from the mountains, showcasing a sophisticated understanding of hydraulics that has endured for centuries. The massive mounds at Cahokia and other sites were not only engineering marvels, but also social and religious centers. These structures required coordinated community labor, reflecting a high degree of political organization and collective effort. The ingenuity of indigenous practices holds valuable lessons for contemporary efforts in sustainability and environmental management. These ancient methods demonstrate that humans can live in harmony with the environment while maintaining prosperity. The indigenous peoples of the Americas exhibited profound mastery over their environments through keen observation, technological innovation, and community-based knowledge sharing. From the terraces of the Andes to the fertile terra preta of the Amazon, and from the communal buffalo hunts of the plains to the sophisticated water management of the Southwest, these achievements underscore a legacy of wisdom and sustainability. Revisiting and learning from these practices provides invaluable insights into creating a more harmonious and sustainable future. The stories and innovations of these societies remind us that humans are capable of great ingenuity when we respect and learn from the world around us.